You ever been reading the Bible and a verse just speaks to you in a way that you have never heard or seen it before? That happened to me. I was reading from a passage I have preached from so many times in Acts 27. You remember the story. The Apostle Paul has languished in prison in Caesarea for 3 years at least. Finally, feeling no hope of ever being heard, he decides to use his Roman citizenship and appeal to Rome. In order to get to Rome, he is put on board a ship with 275 other passengers. He has a foreboding about this trip. Not that he's dreading going to Rome, but he feels like that this particular trip is going to be filled with danger. He expresses his concern to the ship captain, but the ship captain ignores him. Who's going to listen to a little short gospel preacher in chains? So they set out on the sea. They encounter the Euroclydon winds, a nor'easter, a storm almost unlike any other. 14 days and nights. They had not seen the sun, they had not seen the moon, they had not seen the stars. The storm was so violent they had to lighten the ship, throw all the non-essential cargo overboard in order to keep the ship afloat. They even tried to secure the ship with ropes to keep it from bursting apart as it fell upon the waves. Seasick, having not eaten in days, this little gospel preacher comes forward and he says, "Sirs, be of good cheer, for there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve." And he said, "Don't be afraid, Paul. You're going to make it, and not only you, but all of those that are sailing with you will be saved." And Paul turns to all of them as this ship is bouncing on the waves, and he says, "I believe God that it shall be even as He has spoken to me." But the storm continued. It got even worse. Some were thinking about just jumping overboard and ending it all. And Paul said, "No, unless you abide in the ship, you're going to be lost." And it came to pass that even the ship, what they were trusting in for security, broke apart. And somehow I feel that maybe the ship you're in is about to break apart. Maybe for days you haven't seen the sun, the moon, the stars. Maybe you've contemplated just jumping overboard and ending it all. Maybe you've wondered whether you're going to survive, and you've had a word from the Lord that it's going to be all right, but things have gotten worse instead of better. Well, here's the verse that came to me so forcibly as I read. It's the last one in Acts 27. Some on boards, some on broken pieces of the ship. But it came to pass that all made it safely to land. And you know what occurred to me? If God has spoken to you and said you're going to make it, you're going to make it, even on broken pieces. You can make it even with a broken marriage. You can make it even with a broken heart. You can make it even with a broken life and a broken ministry. If God has said you will make it, it may not be pretty, but you can make it, even on broken pieces.